Hey friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and I'm so excited that you decided to take time out of your day to spend with me because today we are doing our January wrap up. So I'm going to talk to you about all the books that I read or at least attempted to read in January. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet, but I like to yap. So just in case, grab a snack, grab something to drink, and let us get into this wrap up. As always, we are going to start off with my storygraph statistics. So I read a total of 11 books in January with a total of 4,068 pages, and my average rating was a 3.95. And look, I know that seems high, it is really high, but I did reread 2 books this month, so those were 5 stars, and that kind of skewed my rating a little bit. Okay, so as always, we're going to start off with our DNFs and then work our way up to the 5 stars, saving the best for last. So this was not mentioned in a reading vlog or anything like that, and it's because I read like the first chapter, which was maybe 20 pages, and I was like, nah. This one is not going to be for me, and that is The Plot by Hanff Korelitz. And I was actually really sad that this didn't work for me. I felt like the setup of it described something that I would have really enjoyed, but the writing to me was just very dull. It gave nothing for me, and I didn't particularly care for our main character's POV and being in their thoughts. I felt like if I kept reading, he was gonna piss me off, and I didn't want to be in his head. So a little bit about the plot: it is a mystery thriller type situation, and we are following this author turned professor who is going to run this workshop, and he has a student that has the story and decides that it doesn't need any work. It has a really great plot. And so when our main character reads it, he was like, wait a minute, this actually is really good, and it doesn't need anything from me. And he feels some type of way about that. But then that student dies, and this professor takes the work as his own, and of course it blows up, and someone finds out, or rather someone knows, that this is a stolen work because apparently the student stole it from somebody else. So yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. And like I said, I've read the first chapter. Wasn't my thing. Next up on the DNF docket, we have one that I mentioned in my last vlog, and that is The Sky on Fire by Jenn Lyons. This is an adult fantasy where we have a heist type situation in dragons, and this just had some questionable things in it, and it made me feel uncomfortable, and I just didn't want to continue. To put it simply, I got out while I was ahead, and then went and read some reviews of this, and it just didn't do. The reviews didn't make me want to risk this either, so I just decided to put it down, and hopefully some other people will read it and can't what and can tell us, if whatever the situation is, and also if they end up actually liking the story. But I'm very disappointed because this was a 5-star prediction for me, so it's like that sometimes. Now we're moving into our 2.5 stars, which I had more than I wanted to have. A for January, but B for any month. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Getting Schooled by Christina C. Jones. This is the first book in the Wright Brothers series, and this is a romance where we follow our main character, who is working as a graduate assistant. Yeah, she's working as a graduate assistant, and she kind of falls in love with this person through their writing as she's grading one of their papers, and it turns out to be a man in class who is an adult student. He served in the military and is now coming back to finish his degree, and they have this really they have this back and forth that borders on childish behavior, doing things specifically to like either get the other one in trouble or to force the other person to have to talk to them. And I didn't like that part of it. I did like their banter, but they were just doing very childish things to each other, in my opinion, instead of just admitting that they wanted to talk to each other and they were attracted to each other. I read this for the disability representation vlog because our love interest lost part of his leg while he was serving in the military and had a prosthetic, and I really liked the way that that representation was handled. I thought that their romance was really cute, and honestly this would have been rated higher if I felt differently about how they started. It had a lot of potential, but that part just wasn't for me. My next 2.5 star was Blood Beneath the Snow by Alexandra Kennington, and this was an arc of a 2025 release that I think is coming out in March, April, something like that. It's not quite out yet. So this is a romantasy, and this is following our main character who doesn't have any powers. And in this world, in this part of the world, if you have powers, you are God touched. If you do not have magical powers, you are God forsaken. So she is a princess, but she is the only royal in this family who is God forsaken, and they basically treat her like trash. She's also the only daughter in this, and her parents have decided that they were going to marry her off for an alliance. Our main character decides that she wants to compete in the bloodshed trials, which is a deadly competition where all of the royal siblings, princes and princesses, fight to the death to see who would be the next one to rule. And before that can happen, though, she's actually sent to war by her father and kidnapped by the enemy, the general of the enemy army, who is this big, bad, scary person. He wears a mask and has all the things going on. Everyone is terrified of him. And as you can imagine, some kind of romance ensues, and we get to the bloodshed trials and things happen. My problem with this was the pacing. I feel like we spent way too long in the exposition setting things up, going into very overly detailed explanations of situations that we didn't necessarily need, and we didn't spend a lot of time with the situations that were actually moving the plot forward. So I did not like that. I think that this needed to be dual POV, because with us only getting one side, it felt like our love interest wasn't really interested in our main character. It felt like very one-sided, and it was very cringy because of that. I really wish that we spent more time on the bloodshed trials. It wasn't given enough time, especially because it did something really major to the plot and changed the course of the story. So I definitely think we should have spent more time on the trials. I mean, it had a lot of potential. I just think it had some kinks that needed to be worked out. Moving on to our only 3-star of the month. Yes, and that is another 2025 release that came out in January. Yeah, and that is Flirting with Disaster. And in this, we are following, what is her name? Mina? I think her name is Mina. If not, I'll correct it on the screen. And Mina is living her best life in DC, and she is trying to run for office, and she wants to do a combined running type situation with her boyfriend Sheikh. But the issue is that Mina is still married to Nikhil, and this is a reimagining of Sweet Home Alabama. So if you have seen this movie, then you know the plot. It's just a little different in like the careers, but if you've seen Sweet Home Alabama, you know what Flirting with Disaster is going to be about. So Shake breaks up with Mina because she is not divorced yet and tells her, you got to get that together if we're going to run or if we're going to take the next step because he wants to, get engaged and move forward with their relationship. So Mina decides to go down to Houston to basically force Nikhil to sign these divorce papers. And she doesn't check the weather before she goes. And a huge hurricane comes in and they are basically stranded in Nikhil and Mina's old house. And so they kind of talk about what happened with their relationship. This is not really heavy on the plot. We are really learning what happened in Mina and Nikhil's relationship, what happened to them growing up, and how that affected their relationship. And that's basically it. My problem with this, well, it's not really a problem. I am not a second chance romance person. So that kind of knocked it down. I also just Mina really kind of sucked a little bit, you know what I'm saying? She just wasn't a good person, and her reasonings for doing the things she did I just could not get behind. And so she was making me root for Nikhil. It was a lot of miscommunication, and miscommunication is one of my least favorite tropes as well. So that piled on top made it be a 3-star. I think that a lot of people will really enjoy this. If you like second chance romance, I think this could be your thing. This could be your bag, but because it's not mine, that's just what happened. My next book that I want to talk about is going to be Flamefall by Rosaria Munda, and I rated this a 3.5 star. This is the second book in the Aurelian Cycle series that starts with Fair. That starts with Fireborn. Okay, you can tell what's on my brain. But anyway, and this is a YA fantasy series. It's very political. In the first book, we follow Annie and Lee, and they are competing at this dragon riding academy to see who will be the first rider, which is the leader of the dragon fleet in the military. The series also features a rebellion, and in this installment in the series, we are introduced into some new characters and a new setting and another rebellion that just adds a layer to everything that was going on in the first book. If you really like political fantasies and rebellions, I think this is a very great series to dive into. I had, I'm not going to say I had a lot of fun because this is sad, and the way that they treat the poor and the way that they treat people that they think are less than, it's sad. And it is the reason why I saw DNF this 2024 and just had to wait to finish it, because some of this stuff, it just breaks your heart, especially with everything going on in the country right now. Yes. But anyway, my problem, I should probably stop saying that. I enjoy I enjoyed my time with this book, but I do think that it was too long. She's a chunker, and I think we spent a lot of time on things that could have been tightened up. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of fighting, a lot of war battle scenes, and I'm also just, I'll give you a couple pages and then I'm over it. Then we can move into our 4-star reads. Did I have more than one? Yes, I did. So let's move into our 4 stars of January. First off, being Always Only You by Chloe Liese. This is one of the books in the Bergman Brothers series. I don't think it's the first one, but yeah, they're interconnected standalones. So y'all notice I'm saying main characters because I don't remember anybody's names. Anyway, our main character in this is a woman who runs the social media for this hockey team. She also has rheumatoid arthritis, chronic pain. She uses a cane for mobility aid. And I read this for the disability representation, chronic illness representation reading vlog. And so she kind of has this cute little crush on one of the hockey players, and he has a crush on her. But of course, they want to keep things professional, so they're not going to do anything. But another career opportunity pops up for our main character. So they, decide to give it a shot and see what happens. And this is their love story. And I thought that this was really cute, really sweet. I don't really have any notes on this book. I just didn't really fully feel connected to the characters. And I think that's why this ended up at a 4-star. But it's a very cute situation. I love interest is a cinnamon roll. So if you're into that type of thing, I think you will really enjoy this. I don't think our main character is like grumpy, but she's not really sunshiny, I really like their tension leading up to their moments, and how they're just in situations and trying not to. They think they're doing a good job at hiding their feelings, but they're absolutely not. Their friendship was really cute. Also, I don't know. I just really enjoyed this. It was fun. It was good. My next 4-star was another 2025 arc. I can't remember when this is coming out. I'll put the date on the screen though. And this is Can't Help Faking in Love by Swati Hedge. And this is basically a fake dating situation because our main character Harsha is. I got it. I'm here now. I have not had coffee yet, so give me a break. So Harsha is trying to build her photography business, but she comes from a really famous, really rich Bollywood family. And if you're not doing what they want you to do, they just kind of shun you. And so her parents, talk to her sideways. She does have like a side account to pull from if she, really is struggling, but she tries not to use it. She wants to make it in her own right. And so she has a boyfriend that dumps her, but she doesn't tell her family that she's been dumped because he's the kind of man that they want her to be with. And so she kind of fake dates the barista at her favorite coffee shop, and she is going to pay him, and he uses that money to help his family. And he actually had a crush on her anyway to begin with. And he is also he wants to be an actor, but he kind of put that on the back burner because he feels like he needs to take care of his family. So with this fake dating, you know how it works. It turns into something real, and I really enjoyed this. This is a closed door fade to black type situation. So if you are looking for a romance with no spice, then definitely try this one because it will not go into detail about their situations. I really liked this. I did not necessarily care for the parents in this story. Both his parents pissed me off. I think people need to pick this up. This is a all BIPOC cast. We are in India, and it's just a beautiful setting, learning about the Indian culture, and I had a great time. Moving on to our 4.5 stars for January. The first one is going to be Mickey Chambers Shakes It Up by Charish, Reid. And Mickey and Diego are one of my new favorite book couples of all time. I loved Mickey and Diego. Mickey has hypothyroidism, and this book was featured in the chronic illness reading blog as well. So she is an adjunct instructor, and she's not really making a lot of money, so she takes a bartending job on the side. And the owner of this bar is Diego, who happens to be one of the students currently in her class. So they're trying to navigate this boss employee relationship as well as a student teacher relationship, and there's all kinds of immediate chemistry between them when they see each other. And of course they're trying to fight it, and it gave everything it did. Diego is kind of still grieving the loss of his wife. She passed away, and so Mickey is the first woman that he has been attracted to since, and they are navigating that. And of course Mickey is worried that, how she's worried about how people perceive her as someone having a chronic illness, and she doesn't want people to see her illness. She wants people to see her first, so she doesn't tell them about what's going on until, of course, something dramatic happens. And all the things, like, I loved them from jump. Their banter, their chemistry, it was just, they worked for me. Like, I would like to be a part of their couple. Are they, just you know? I was a fan of Mickey and Diego, so this one really worked for me. It's definitely going to be a favorite of the year, a favorite book couple of all time going forward. All the things. All the things. If you take one recommendation from this video, let it be that one. Yeah, my next 4.5 star I loved just as much. And I feel like it's going to be hard for me to not repeat everything that I just said about Mickey Chambers. But this is going to be The Love Lyric by Christina Forrest. This is the third and final book in the Green Sisters series. And this is coming out. Is it today? I think it comes out the day this video is released. But anyway, this follows Angel and Iris. Iris is the oldest Green sister, and she got married, had the baby, and all that, and lost her husband all in the first, year and a half of their marriage. So our good sis has been a single mom. Her daughter is like 6 at this point. She's been working, and she has worked her way up in this beauty company. She doesn't really have time for anything else. She just takes care of her daughter and works. And Angel is an R&B pop-ish star, and they met up at Violet's wedding and had this moment, but then it comes out that Angel will be working for Iris's company, and so of course they try to, stay professional, but then some turns of events happen and they have to spend more time together and they learn more about each other. And then Angel starts like doing really cute stuff, and he may or may not write a song for her, and just like all the cute things. And I ate this up. I was very skeptical going into this one because of the music aspect of it, because even though I love music in real life, sometimes it just doesn't translate well for me in books. But this one, I loved it. I ate up everything. Like, I just really loved how Angel respected where Iris was in her life, but he still like applied pressure, but respectfully. He was like, I see that you got this going on, but just know that I'm over here and I want you. So when you're ready, like, and it just gave all the feels. And of course, we addressed some family drama because we always got to. And I really loved how Angel and Iris showed up for each other, and they were just such a good couple. Pick this up too. And then I want to talk about the newest 5-star that I have. My very first new 5-star of 2025. That's what I'm trying to say. And that is the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. I was very hesitant to pick this book up. I was intimidated by this book. I heard nothing but amazing things, but I knew going into this is going to be a big brain book for me, and I was scared. I was so scared. It took me almost 3 weeks to get through this book. But you know what? I'm glad that I just slowed down and I took my time because it was worth it. And she is amazing. She is the moment. She is a masterpiece. She deserves every bit of praise that she gets. And I really think that you should pick this up. And when you do, it's okay to be intimidated. Take your time with it and just enjoy the ride, because you will be confused at first. You'll be like, what is going on? I don't know what's going on. Just let it happen to you. There's an appendix for the terms that you don't know, but just let the story happen to you, and you'll be shook, shaken, flabbergasted, all the things, just like I was, and you'll finish it and realize that you had an amazing time and it was worth it. And that's all I gotta say. Because I would just continue to rattle on about how much I love this book, how much I love these characters, like, and it was so unexpected. Like, I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't what I got, but in the best way. Yeah. Yeah. And then we will talk briefly about the rereads that I completed in January for the chronic illness vlog. I decided to pick up this book. It actually kind of inspired it because I wanted to reread it. And then I was like, hey, one of the reasons why I love this book is because of the chronic illness representation. And so why not try to find some more books that gives that same vibe? And that book is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, one of my favorite books of all time. We love Chloe and Reid. We love the acts of service. Reid taking care of Chloe. Chloe learning to be okay with being taken care of. This one right here, it's gonna do it. It's going to do it for sure. And so basically in this book, Chloe Brown's chronically ill. She feels like she has been a rule follower her whole life, scared to try new things, scared to step outside of the box. So she makes this list of, what does she call it? Her list to help her get a life. And she enlists Reid, who is like the maintenance superintendent, something like that kind of person in her building. She enlists him to help her with this list. And along the way, they just kind of fall in love, and it's just real cute. It's real cute, it's real spicy, it's real, yeah. And the way I just felt seen reading this will always give me all the feels in the best way. Moving on to my last book that I want to talk about, the last reread, and that is Faebound by Saara El-Arifi. This is the first book in the Faebound series. Cursebound is coming out in February, so I had to be ready. I had to reread. Everything had to be fresh, and of course, I just look for any excuse to revisit this world, to revisit these characters. Erin and Fury are my favorite characters. Little is okay. She's a little annoying at times, but I love being in this world. Like, Saara really did her big one, and the way that the lore is so interesting, and I'm ready for book 2 because I have to find out, like, I'm ready to find out more. There's so many layers to everything and so many cliffhangers and things you just want to know, and I need to know. And I'm also terrified to read Cursebound because what if it's not as good as this? The anxiety is real. But anyway, of course, this is a 5-star. Y'all know about Faebound. Y'all are probably sick of seeing and hearing me talk about this book, but I won't stop. Okay, friends, and that will do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching and staying to the end. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, anything that you do to support me and my channel. I am so grateful, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Let's see, what else do I have to say? How do I end videos? I can't remember. Oh yeah, I hope you have the best day that you possibly can, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.